Lavita Alize Jenkins, administrative assistant. Sadie, I'm pregnant. You're gonna be a daddy.
He's always been cocky, always. Oh, the conversations him, Wendy said used to have on set, it's the same. What really happened behind the scenes of the Steve Harvey show? Did you know TERRI VAUGHN, who played Lavita Al Jenkins, has shared some shocking secrets about her time on the show? He didn't talk about that. There was no conversation of that. So, I think what you're saying is that's just another side of him. What were the challenges she faced, and how did they affect her career? Why is she speaking out now? Let's uncover the hidden truths about her experiences on one of TV's most loved comedy shows. Let's talk about The Steve Harvey Show, a funny and heartfelt sitcom that aired on the WB from August 25, 1996, to February 17, 2002. This show ran for 6 seasons and became a favorite for many. Don't confuse it with Steve Harvey's talk show, which came later from 2012 to 2017. The sitcom was created by Winfred Harvey, a talented producer and writer. I had been approached with Steve Harvey before, but I didn't really feel like he was quite my cup of tea, and I had not worked with too many stand-ups before this show. She worked on other hits like In the House and was an executive producer for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The episodes were directed by Stan Lathan, a skilled director and producer. Fun fact, Stan is the father of actress Sanaa Lathan. Both Winfred and Stan also served as executive producers for the series. At first, Winfred wasn't sure about working with Steve Harvey. She hadn't worked much with stand-up comedians, and Steve's earlier show, Me and the Boys, had been cancelled. But when Stan Lathan, someone she trusted and respected, got involved, she decided to give it a try. But I ended up doing it with Stan. Lathan came to me, and he's somebody who I've known for a long time and respect very much, and he was involved with Steve, and so that's how I got into that. Steve's management team, Brillstein Gray, helped him find another project after his previous show ended. That's how the Steve Harvey Show was born. It gave Steve the chance to show off his humor and charm, and it became a big success. The show combined laughs, life lessons, and plenty of heart. When creating the Steve Harvey Show, the team wasn't sure what kind of character Steve Harvey should play. At first, they thought about making him an English teacher, but that idea didn't sit right. One of the show's creators even joked, "I don't think you'd want Steve Harvey to teach English." So they decided to meet Steve in person to figure it out. And they wanted him to be, I forget what, they wanted him to be an English teacher. I was like, I don't think you want Steve Harvey to be your English teacher. Steve's personality stood out. He was funny, bold, and had a unique style. After sitting down with him, the creators realized they needed to create a character that matched his personality. That's when the idea for Steve Hightower was born. Steve Hightower became a washed-up singer who used to be part of a group like the Temptations called the High Tops. In the show, his music career had fizzled out, and now he was down on his luck. To make ends meet, he started teaching music at high school. The twist: the school principal was a woman he used to tease when they were kids. This fun dynamic made the show even more entertaining. Did we date? The show's theme song was written by jazz pianist and R&B singer Patrice Rushen, who also worked as the show's musical director. She brought a lot of soul and energy to the series. Interestingly, Steve Harvey's journey to television started way back in 6th grade when his teacher asked the class what they wanted to be when they grew up. Steve confidently said, "I want to be on TV." At the time, Steve had a severe stutter. Some people doubted him, but he never gave up on his dream. That determination paid off, and the Steve Harvey Show became a hit. It was the perfect mix of Steve's humor and the character tailored just for him. She told me, she said, "Son, one day God's going to give you a big house up on the hill. When you get up there, you got to tell somebody else how to get on the hill." Steve Harvey didn't have an easy road to success. Before becoming a famous comedian and TV star, he did many different jobs to pay the bills. He worked as an auto worker, insurance salesman, carpet cleaner, mail carrier, and even a boxer. Steve was willing to do whatever it took to make ends meet. Things started to change for him in the early 1990s when he became a finalist in the National Comedy Search. That moment opened doors for him and led to a long run as the host of Showtime at the Apollo, where he took over from Mark Curry. Steve's comedy skills stood out, and it didn't take long for him to land a bigger opportunity. In 1994, Steve got his first starring role on the ABC show Me and the Boys. Watching, "Oh, you got drool all in the corner of your mouth, oh?" He played a widowed father raising 3 sons. Even though the show only lasted 1 season, it showed that Steve had what it took to be a star. 2 years later, he got another big chance with The Steve Harvey Show. In this sitcom, Steve played a character named Steve Hightower. His best friend on the show, Cedric Robinson, was played by Cedric the Entertainer. Fun fact, Steve and Cedric are real-life best friends and had known each other for years before working on the show. "That's why I don't like telling you nothing, 'cause see, I knew you was going to go there, act all immature about the whole situation." Regina Greer, played by Wendy Raquel Robinson, is an important character on the show. The Steve Harvey Show. She is the principal of the school and an old classmate of Steve. Back in the day, Steve used to call her Piggy because she was overweight. Even with their rocky history, Regina and Steve have a playful and sometimes complicated relationship. Steve also becomes close with 2 of his students, Romeo Santana, played by Merlin Santana, and Stanley Bullethead Kosaki, played by William Lee Scott. These 2 boys bring a lot of humor to the show with their antics. In the first season, other students like Sophia, played by Tracy V, and her rival Sarah, played by Ned Ferry, were also part of the main cast. Fun fact, Tracy V, who played a teen, was actually 28 years old, just 1 year younger than Wendy Raquel Robinson. In Season 2, new characters were added. Livia Jenkins, played by TERRI Vaughn, became Cedric's love interest. Their relationship grew, and they eventually got married and had a child. Did I date your sister? No. When The Steve Harvey Show first aired, critics were not impressed. Variety gave the show a bad review, calling it full of stereotypes and not very funny. "I'm going to guess that would be you, or else there would be no point to this whole story," they said. The show relied too much on jokes about things like big butts and jive talk, but fans enjoyed Steve Harvey's charm and his ability to make even weak scripts entertaining. Some people felt that the show showed outdated views about women and their roles. Steve Harvey's character was often shown as a man who didn't really listen to women. He was portrayed as overly macho and sometimes dismissed what women had to say. This didn't sit well with some viewers who thought it was sending the wrong message about how men should treat women. Another reason the show faced backlash was because of how women were shown. The female characters sometimes appeared to fit into negative stereotypes, which made people feel that the show wasn't giving women strong, positive role models. Instead, it felt like it was keeping women stuck in old-fashioned ideas of what they should be like. The Steve Harvey Show has faced criticism over how it portrayed people with lighter skin tones as more successful and privileged than those with darker skin tones. This is a form of discrimination known as colorism, which happens when people with lighter skin are treated better than those with darker skin. Even within the same racial group, the show's portrayal of black characters seemed to reinforce these ideas, and many people took notice. Colorism has been an issue for a long time, especially in the black community. It often means that people with lighter skin are seen as more attractive, more successful, or even more acceptable in society. This kind of thinking can create problems, making people with darker skin feel left out or less important. On The Steve Harvey Show, some fans felt that this issue wasn't addressed properly, and it made them uncomfortable. This created the impression that lighter skin was more valuable, which is harmful to people with darker skin. Some fans wanted the show to talk about this unfairness more openly, or at least show a more equal picture of black beauty. They hoped the show would help change the way people see skin color, and show that beauty and success can come in all shades. Smell like feet, but you know that aroma usually makes me doze off quicker anyway. One of the most talked about characters was Cedric the Entertainer, Steve's best friend. Cedric was often shown as the cool friend who didn't take things seriously. He was funny but also a bit irresponsible and lazy. This kind of portrayal is common in TV shows, but it can also lead to negative stereotypes, especially when it comes to black men. Many people felt that Cedric's character helped spread the idea that black men were often careless and only good for comic relief. Instead of showing a wide range of black experiences, the show focused on this one stereotype, which didn't sit well with everyone. Thank you, Regina, I do clean up good, don't I? Another issue with the show was the way it sometimes used racial humor. Racial jokes are not always harmful, but they can easily cross a line if they make fun of people in a way that is disrespectful. Some viewers felt that the Steve Harvey show relied on these kinds of jokes too much. For example, jokes about black culture or the differences between black and white people could sometimes feel like they were making fun of those differences instead of celebrating them. While some fans enjoyed the humor and felt it was just part of the show's fun vibe, others thought it went too far and made them uncomfortable. His personal, I really tailored it to him. I went off on my own. I told him I wanted him to be a singer. He was in a group. Not everything went smoothly behind the scenes. There were reports of tension between Steve Harvey and the show's producers, which made things a bit rocky at times. The issues seemed to center around the direction the show was going in and how the characters were being portrayed. One of the biggest problems came from creative differences. Steve Harvey wanted the show to focus more on comedy. However, the producers seemed to push for a mix of comedy and drama. This caused some tension as Harvey felt that the balance wasn't right. He believed the show was leaning too much toward drama, and this made it harder for him to do what he did best, make people laugh. However, Steve admitted he had some frustrations with the show. He wanted to explore serious issues like teen pregnancy and drug abuse but said the network didn't agree. They thought those topics were too heavy for a comedy series and wanted to keep the show light because it was doing well. Steve disagreed, saying, "You can make anything funny." Another problem was how the characters were being shown on the show. Steve Harvey wanted to make sure his character was portrayed in a way that connected with the audience, but the producers had a different vision. These disagreements led to a tense atmosphere on set. Harvey wasn't happy with how things were being handled, and this affected his relationship with the team. Some reports even said that the working environment became so challenging that it impacted Harvey's ability to enjoy his work. For someone who built his career on making people laugh and having fun, this was a big problem. Appointment through me, Lita Alex Jenkins, administrative assistant, that's my title. Terry B. recently talked about how playing Lita on the Steve Harvey show came with its own set of challenges. The role took her to another level of fame but also brought a lot of backlash. People sometimes judged her for the character, not knowing how much effort she put into bringing Levita to life. The character was strong and bold, and some people didn't understand that it was just a role for Terry. It was all about showing the world her talent in dealing with all the struggles that come with being in Hollywood. Terry said that playing a character like Levita could easily lead to being type cast in stereotypical roles. In fact, some people were upset with how the character came across. Groups like the NAACP didn't always like the way these characters were portrayed. They felt that Levita was too over the top, too ghetto, and didn't show a positive image for black people. But Terry didn't see it that way. She understood that people like Levita exist in real life, and she felt proud to represent them on screen. Lita Al Jenkins, administrative assistant. Despite the criticism, Terry's portrayal of Lita was successful. She won 3 Image Awards for the role, proving that many people connected with the character. To her, Levita was not just a funny, loud character, she was real. She said, "This is the voice for the girls I grew up with." Terry grew up in a neighborhood where people like Lita were around, and she saw a lot of herself in that character. Even though some people were upset by the role, Terry felt that they were just uncomfortable with seeing a real version of someone they might know. She pointed out that there are people who don't like to acknowledge the hood side of life, but it's a part of who some people are, and to her that made Levita a necessary character to portray. The picture on the menu clearly showed 9 jumbo shrimp. After the Steve Harvey show ended, Terry got another chance to show her range when she was asked to join the cast of Soul Food. This time she played a very different character, and she was grateful for the opportunity. It was a shift from the bold and loud Levita to a more serious role, which gave a chance to show her acting skills in a different light. She's thankful to Felicia Henderson, the producer, for giving her that opportunity and helping her grow as an actress. "He's always been cocky, always he the conversations me him," Wendy said, used to have on set. It's the Terry Vaughn recently responded to criticism about Steve Harvey, saying that he's always been cocky. According to her, Steve has always been the same person, whether on set or in private conversations with her and others like Wendy. Terry explained that Steve hasn't changed, he's still the same guy he's always been. The only difference now is that he's in a new position in life. As Terry put it, Everyone grows and changes in different ways, and Steve's views may have shifted because of his new role. She said that if Steve had talked the way he does now in the past, people might have had the same reactions they do today, but back then he didn't talk about those things. He didn't talk about that. Right, there was no conversation of that. So, I think what you're saying is still, that's just another side of him. Steve can come off as a little arrogant at times, especially around certain people. She explained that Steve and Cedric are both good guys, but Steve can sometimes be a bit tough to deal with. One thing that seemed to bother Steve was the way she and the other women on set dressed for work. Terry said that she and the other women would come to work in comfortable clothes like tennis shoes and sweatpants because they were there to rehearse for long hours. But Steve would always ask why they didn't wear dresses or heels, and he would joke that they should look more put together. Terry admitted that she found this funny but also said that she couldn't imagine dressing up like that for rehearsals. It was clear that Steve's views on appearance came from a different time, and he expected people to look a certain way. Terry joked that she could never be with him because she would never be able to meet those high standards. She said that Steve wanted everyone to look perfect, like they were going to a wedding all the time, and that wasn't her style. Terry explained that Steve often gets criticized for his style and attitude, but she believes he does it in a fun, comical way. It's his way of showing that he's made it, despite people trying to bring him down. Red hot poa, hot tamale hot, I'm talking about Tabasco. So, it's just, I got in trouble right when we started dating. Steve has had a complicated personal life, especially when it comes to his marriages. Harvey first married Marcia Harvey in 1980. At the time, his comedy career was just starting to take off. This success caused some tension in their relationship, and after 14 years of marriage and 3 children, they divorced in 1994. Before their divorce was final, they had actually separated in 1990, which was the year before their 3rd child was born. Things got even more complicated after the separation. Harvey reportedly didn't pay the child support he owed to Marcia and their kids. Also, during this time, Harvey started living with his future wife, Mary Shackelford, even though his divorce was still being settled. Harvey and Mary married in 1996 and had 1 son together, but their marriage ended in divorce in 2005. After their split, Mary Shackelford claimed that Harvey had been unfaithful. Harvey's 3rd marriage was to Marjorie in 2007. They've been married for many years now, and together they have 7 children. 4 of these children are Steve's biological kids, while the other 3 are Marjorie's children, whom Harvey adopted. One of these children is Lori Harvey, who has made a name for herself in the fashion world. Steve reconnected with Marjorie in 2005, right after his divorce in 2006. They had dated in the 80s. However, in August 2023, rumors started spreading about Marjorie cheating on Steve with the family's security guard and chef. Steve Harvey publicly denied these claims during a comedy show, saying that his marriage was doing just fine. He also reassured fans that everything between him and Marjorie was okay. Apart from the drama in his personal life, Steve Harvey has faced some legal troubles as well. In 2015, he was sued by an aircraft company, Business Aircraft Leasing Incorporated, for $205,400. The company said Harvey had asked for $400,000 worth of changes to a private jet he wanted to lease. This included removing 2 seats and redecorating the inside of the plane. However, when it was time to pay, Harvey reportedly only paid half of the amount he owed. The company took legal action, but the case was dropped after a year when the company reached a new agreement with one of Harvey's businesses. In the world of television, Terry's real-life pregnancy was written into the show. This gave her character a storyline that connected to her real life, making it feel even more special. Another fun fact, Aisha, played by Ariane Johnson, joined the show in the 3rd season, and Lori Beth Denbigh came on board as Lydia Gutman. Lydia stuck around for the rest of the series. Here's something cool, rapper Robin Allen, known as Lady of Rage, had a recurring role as Ketta, the Ox, Cox. Even though she was in her early 30s at the time, she played a teenager. One of the best parts of the Steve Harvey show was the music. Steve went all out by creating a fictional singing group called Steve Hightower and the High Toops. The group would get together to perform every now and then. Members included Steve, of course, T-Bone, played by T.K. Carter, later Don D.C. Curry, Pretty Tony, played by Ronald Aisley, and Clyde, played by Jonathan Slocum. Some of their most popular songs were When the Funk Hits the Fan and Break Me Off a Piece of That Funk. When the Steve Harvey Show was canceled after its 6th season, many people were upset. Fans of the show felt that it ended too soon and that it still had a lot of potential. They believed there were more great stories to tell and that the show had much more to offer. Steve Harvey, the host, also shared his feelings of disappointment when the news came out. He mentioned that there were creative and professional differences between him and the network, which played a role in the show's cancellation. One reason the cancellation sparked such a strong reaction is that it was a black-led show. Despite mixed reviews from critics, the show lasted for 6 seasons. By 2001, Steve Harvey was ready to move on, but he agreed to film a final 13 episodes for the 6th season at the request of the WB network. Surprisingly, the last season had higher ratings than the previous 2, a rare thing for a long-running show. In February 2002, Steve Harvey shared his thoughts about the show in an interview with the Los Angeles Times. He was proud of the series and how it helped him grow as an entertainer. He said, "I'm walking away on my own terms. We lasted 6 years, and we're doing great in syndication." He felt the show introduced him to many families across the country, which helped his career move from stand-up comedy to television.